And we're back. Now, before I give you the rest, I want to repeat the bracket that I just announced one more time, but I want to get it correct this time. In the last game of the PYT, and Hot Mess was tied 3-3, I want to announce that the Hot Mess are still 1-1, but they have one tie. And I want to say that PYT is still 0-2, but one tie. And either way, it's not enough for any of these teams to go on to the semifinals this year. And with that in mind, we go on to the main field, Game 6. And I tell you, this Pony Boys have done it again. This time, it came very close, and here's how. The Big Heads had started off with 3-2, and that came close. And then, for some reason, the Pony Boys came back to tie the game at 3 and answer 2 more in a row. And I got to tell you, this final score was a very close game for them. But the final score of this game, Pony Boys 5, Big Heads 3, and the results are the Pony Boys are 3-0, and congratulations to the Pony Boys. You are the next team to advance to the semifinals next week. Unfortunately, the Big Heads are 0-2 and one tie. And I'm sorry to say that the Big Heads are eliminated from this competition. The final game yesterday. And I got a little story to tell you on this one. Bill team had started off with 3. And then we had a 20-minute delay with the lights out. So it got very tiring. People were resting for 20 minutes. And then when the lights came back on, the game had continued. Wow, if I got something to tell you about this. The Sugar Tits came back out of nowhere. And then it was 3-1. And then continued on with 3-2. And then we had a tie at 3. And then last but not least, I got to tell you, it was between the Bill and the Sugar Tits. One of them will be going to the semifinals. The other team will be going home. And we got that results and find out that the Sugar Tits have won it in a close game by the final score of 4-3. And not only that, congratulations, Sugar Tits. You are the last team to advance to the semifinals next week. And those are your highlights of yesterday's games. Now, the 4 teams I had mentioned so far, and I'll mention it, the teams who will be going to the semifinals next week. And they are the Pony Boys, Sugar Tits, Mathletes, and Perfect Strangers. Those are your 4 teams who will be going to the semifinals next week. Now, next week, as we told you, there will be a double kickball next week. Now, I just announced these teams because whoever wins in the semifinals, only 2 teams next week on that same day will enter the Brooklyn Kickball Season 12 Finals Championship on that same day, October 4th, after the semifinals. Now, if you go to the finals, there will be a surprise. Now, I cannot reveal it on this videotape, but you can be sure that things are going to be different in the finals. The team that wins the finals next week, and I promise you this, we will have a brand new champion next week. Whoever that champion is will win the Chuck D Trophy and have next year's bragging rights for next year's 2016. Now, I want to thank you for listening to this videotape, and we'll see you next week for the final Brooklyn Kickball, and it will be double. The semifinals and the Brooklyn Kickball Season 12 Finals Championship. For now, so long.